So, Pauline Gibson, it is so good to have you on Promising Me Unleashed.
And it's good to be here with you, Miss
Yeah,
Jackie.
I'm laughing already. Just to kind of share with those who are viewing our conversation, I'm really excited because we're going back in time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, to really bring us to where we are today. And I first want to share that I had the pleasure, as you know, to sing my freshman year of college. The spring of my freshman year of college, I was asked to sing at your wedding. You,
Like you said, back in 1982, when we approached you to sing at our wedding, a little young girl that you were. We all
yeah,
young, right? And you did an awesome job, by the way. And
wow.
don't let her fool you. She can sing very, 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 very
Oh,
good. Yeah.
well.
Yes. So here we are today, and I'm so glad to be a part of your program, your podcast that you
Conversation,
do.
yes.
Yes, so thank you for this. God has blessed you with an awesome thing, and you blessing others through it, so
Well,
thank
I,
you for
I'm
having me.
excited because I sit on this side, really in awe of hearing, the stories of other people and just the impact that people like yourself are having on other people's lives through your own lived experience.
Right.
Let me say that this is a conversation with people who are living the experience, and
Mhm.
in turn I believe they're encouraging other people. And so that Saturday morning, I know that that was divine intervention, because
Yes.
as you began to share your journey just over this COVID period time frame alone, we're not
Mhm.
talking the whole 40 years.
Right.
We're
Mhm.
talking just a couple of years, and what amazing things have occurred even through the trials. And we're going to talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that.
Mhm.
But the things that have come out of the pandemic,
Yes.
and where we are today, it is just amazing. And
Mhm.
so I thought, if Pauline can go through what she has gone through, career wise, health wise, and then on the mission, and then more importantly, I saw you, and you can tell them your age if you like,
Oh,
but when I saw you running up and down those steps more recently, and I'm thinking, Lord, I'd have tumbled, fumbled, just to see, what has gotten you to this place and this point of really improving your health and how
yes.
empowering that has become. I said, oh no, she's got to share. She can't keep all
Yes.
this good stuff to herself.
Right. Right.
So, Pauline,
Right.
just kind of share with us, how did this particular journey begin?
Yes. Yeah. So let me start by saying one of my little, we have 9 grandchildren, and one of
Wow.
them shared with us one day. We were doing a Zoom family connection,
Hmm.
something we have never done before. Thanks to, as bad as the pandemic is, thanks to the pandemic. But as we were going around introducing ourselves, um, Melanie said,
Hmm.
when she introduced herself, she says, I don't like the pandemic, but there's a lot of good that came out of the pandemic, she said. Because if it was not for the pandemic, I would not have gotten to meet all of my family as I have now. And that is so true because, I'm from Jamaica, the West Indies. So my children here don't know half, not even know 3/4 of their family, really.
Wow.
And so, we were able to connect with family in Jamaica, Canada, England, Alaska, name it. We were all on the Zoom, and it was exciting time for the younger ones, especially. And so, so yes, it's true. COVID-19, as devastating as it came into our lives, it also brought about so many positive as well.
Yeah.
And so we are so, for me, that journey started there. We
Mhm.
have things that we go through in life every day, but my journey started there during the pandemic. And It started with, I worked at a community hospital. And when it started, just the changes as to how we approach going in a patient's room and all of those things that, it build up all that anxiety in you, not
Mhm.
knowing what you're walking into. Just to make a long story short, I was terminated from my job during that
Wow.
during the time of the pandemic. So, we had gone through some changes where the former hospital that I worked with was bought out by another hospital.
Mhm.
So when that happened, we went through those changes and those transition period.
Mhm.
And from there, once I was, terminated, um, it was a devastating time of my life. It was very devastating. I
It's
had
like trauma
never
on top of trauma. Yeah.
trauma top of trauma
Yeah.
because,
Mhm.
I pride myself as a outstanding employee,
Mhm.
and I've, done over and above. I pride myself with what I do, how I do things, and I was passionate about my job. So never in a million years would I think something like that would happen to me.
Right.
And I think that's why it was so, devastating than anything else, because it's like, even you saw it coming, but
Mhm.
then when it really hits and it really did happen, it's like it devastates you. But
Right.
I just, many tears, many prayer, and that's when you really truly truly turn to God more.
Yeah.
And from that, I before even I got terminated, my health was also going downhill.
And it's
I was
something how people who take care of patients often don't, it's not that you don't realize that your body is taking a toll.
right.
Your attention is really on the
Focus
work.
on others, yes, and the
Yes.
work,
Mhm.
exactly. So I was putting on weight. I was a lot of anxiety setting in,
Mhm.
feeling claustrophobic. Wouldn't even go on elevators. I would take the steps, carrying as much as I'm just dragging things up the stairs
Mhm.
with me, because I had this built up so much anxiety, and it became a phobia.
Yeah.
And
I think
so
that was everyone's position at the onset because we really didn't know what we were dealing with.
mhm, it was challenging.
Mhm.
But so, and as you stated, like you're spending time taking care of others, but not yourself,
Yeah.
or you complain about how you're feeling, but you don't take the time to go check it out and make sure, hey, what's going on with me?
Mhm.
So once uh, I started, going to see my doctor and talking with my doctor about what's going on, and he decided to run some tests, and come to find out, he told me I was diabetic. Now, for years, I've known that I was borderline.
Mhm.
And so, when they tell you that you're borderline, I tell people now, pretend, just take it as you are
Yeah.
diabetic, because when
Mhm.
you tell someone they're borderline, we continue to do the same things that we do. We don't make any changes.
Mhm.
At least
Mhm.
I did not. I'm not saying others might, but hearing the word borderline, it's like, oh well, I'm not there. So I continue to eat the same way, go to bed late, and just continue the lifestyle the way I've been going.
Right.
But once he said to me that, I'm gonna have to put you on medication, and I said, is there any other alternatives? Is there any other options that I have? He says, well, the only other thing is for you to lose some weight,
Mhm.
and watch your diet intake, as far as your sugar, even the salt, and your cholesterol level is high, and so everything was against me at that point.
Mhm.
And so, with that said, he gave me 3 months to show improvement, and if I didn't, then I had to go on medication.
Wow.
And so I went cold turkey. I'm like, I'm stopping everything, and I started doing my exercises. At this point, Jackie, I couldn't even walk up 2 flights of steps without being
Out of
out of
breath.
breath,
Mhm.
knees hurt. Um, just can't. I couldn't travel in the car without um, having the windows open or the air condition on because I just felt like I could not breathe right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so all of those things were going on. And so once I started, I went to a dietitian, sat down with a dietitian and a diabetic nurse
Mhm.
and a nutritionist. And so they walked me through the process of what I need to go through to improve my lifestyle as far as a change in diet, a change in how I eat and exercise and all that sort. So of course,
And Colleen, real quick, I do believe that the diabetic diet per se, if you will, or lifestyle change is really good for anybody.
it's good for every and anybody. It truly
Mhm.
is. It really is because I preach that now, and I preach it everywhere I go. And I really don't even care if people get annoyed at me saying it, but I do say it. Um, and honestly, I didn't even know I was going down the road of destruction
Mm.
until I look at myself now. But being at home during that time has taught me a whole different way of life. I started as a child, I used to journal, used to write diary,
Mhm.
and I stopped. And you get busy, start a family. Every now
Right.
and then I pick it up. I start, for the beginning of the year, and then by mid-year, you put it away.
Yeah.
So
How
now,
many journals do you have sticking around the house or laying around?
exactly, and
Half
halfway,
written in, half done.
yes, yes,
Guilty.
several. But this time I decided to do it a little different, and I write, "Dear Jesus."
Wow.
And it was more like, thanking him for waking me up in the morning. And it was more like a prayer to him. And I would journal, like, doing my finger pricks to check my blood sugar, my test my pressure, and I would put that in there. It was like a journal of what's going on. But then I took it a little further and I started using it to pray for people, praying for
Mm.
myself, praying for my family. And I just, instead of getting on my knees and praying, I would write my prayer out. And it's like I was talking to Jesus and he's communicating back with me. And the more I
Mhm.
write, the more I was feeling him. And I became stronger, as far as the health, as far as financial things. Everything just started coming together. And it's
Wow.
like, I felt like God favors me. I just kept saying that God favors me because everything that was just happening, as bad as they were, it was some positive things coming out of it as well.
During the
Um,
pandemic.
during the pandemic. And then, I had the vision of well, it my son actually um kept pushing for me to do a garden.
Mhm.
And I kept, yeah, I would love that. I really would love that, but how to get it started. And my husband is not one for going outdoors and getting into the ground and digging and all that. So my son said he would, because he's a vegetarian. So he
Wow.
was Mama, I help you. So he started it for me as far as a foundation. And then once he laid a foundation, I made it out there. And as it was challenging because I
Mhm.
found I would get down low and then I had a
Uh-huh.
hardest time getting back up,
Uh,
you know. It was hard getting back up. That's when the weight was on. And
Right.
so, and I would, try you sometimes I get back up and I get so dizzy. I guess your blood pressure just kind of, go
Yes.
out of whack then. And I
Mhm.
have to hold on. And so it was a journey, even going through doing the gardening.
Mhm.
And but I was truly, like your topic, inspired to plant,
Mm.
through the pandemic. It
Mhm.
was because I had nothing else to do. You're home, you're unemployed, you're not working. And the field that I'm in as a social worker, no matter where I go, I'm going to be facing the pandemic, right?
Exactly.
So at that point, I'm like, God, is this what you want for me?
Mhm.
You remove me from something that I'm I'm compassionate about,
Yeah.
why did you take that away from me? You know, and I couldn't see why, and I struggled with that. And like I kept saying, why? And all the while I'm saying, why? God is showing it to me right there, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I was just blinded by um, the fact that I am not employed. I
Right.
am not doing the work that I'm passionate about, you know.
Mhm.
And so he's now teaching me how to wait and listen to him. And he's showing me, like, I'm saving you from something, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but I
Yes.
didn't see it. He is truly saving me from something. And
Yes.
so as I go through that journey, um, planting. So the first year we did it, we were, it's just, oh my God, it's a good feeling to just see your heart when we go out to
Yeah.
harvest, to see,
Yes.
wow, look at this. Even when I think about it, the the journey of the garden is all about my preparation and what I needed for my illness, as far as the diabetes, and eating healthy and natural things. Because what we did was we did a lot of organic, uh, vegetables,
Mhm.
and that I can, even when you think about finance, so some of the things that I will run out to buy, I no longer have to purchase because I have it right in my backyard, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
God prepare a way for us to be able to utilize the things that are natural, the things that He has made possible for us to have that we have grown away from. Like I shared before, I'm from the West Indian, so Jamaica, and where we have plantation all around us, right? And I don't remember any of my family member necessarily um, going out to get anything more than maybe flour or sugar. But
Mhm.
like as far as every vegetable, every fruit, we
Mhm.
go and we pick it from a tree. We go
Right.
and we root it up from the ground.
Mhm.
Everything. That's my entire lifestyle growing up in Jamaica.
Mhm.
So um here we just run to the store, we buy everything, we don't look at anything, we don't look at labels. I've never looked at labels until two years ago,
Right.
when I was diagnosed. I
Mhm.
s- it was never important to me, never
Mhm.
ever, never felt the need to look at labels,
And
know what it is.
why do we need to look at labels?
It is so important to look at labels. It will
I'm
blow
just
your mind wide open. It
right, because you know what, when you're plucking from a tree, you're not necessarily looking at label. There's no
Oh,
label.
no,
That ought to tell you something right
uh,
there. If
right
I
there.
gotta read what I'm eating,
Yes, you have to read what you
that
eat, and
stuff
I
is
and I
wrong. Mhm.
and because especially sugar, and think about our young children, it starts there, and that's probably how we see a lot of our young children being obese, because
Mhm.
we are packing them with so much sugar by not reading the labels,
Right.
the carbs that turns into sugar,
Mhm.
from all the pasta,
Mhm.
that's so loaded with sugar. And we need a little sugar in our lives, right? A little
Yeah.
salt, a little this, but just in moderation.
Right.
But if you continue to purchase these things that are on the counter for us, preservative and all, it's not good. It's not
Mhm.
good. It's really not good. And they're full of sodium, full of sugar, and trying to keep things natural is so much better.
Mhm.
And once in a while, if you're doing those, over the counter things, it's okay. But you cannot let that be your daily lifestyle.
Right.
No way, no way. And then, of course, I learned how important it is to drink water,
Mhm.
um, because we don't realize how quickly some of the feelings that I was having also, what all these years actually, when I used to say to my husband, I can't breathe, take me to the hospital, anxiety sets in, didn't realize that a lot of those times, you either feel dehydrated and didn't even know it,
Mhm.
because you go about your daily lives just eating, and don't stop to even drink water,
Right.
and if you drink anything, it was soda, it was juice,
Mhm.
and which was loaded with sugar. So the
Right.
more you were packing on those things is the more your body was getting feeling the anxiety and all of those things.
Mhm.
So I have learned how important it is to drink water,
Mhm.
and it truly helps a lot. Cucumbers, I eat a lot of that. It turns into water,
Right.
and I've learned how great berries are.
Right.
The strawberries, the
Right.
blueberries. So I
Mhm.
even in my garden we have strawberries and blueberries.
Right.
Because
And listen, and you're doing all this in New Jersey.
I'm doing it all this in New Jersey in my backyard, and every year I add more. And
Uh-huh.
my husband warned me, "Don't take over the entire backyard." I'm like, you know what?
His
I
walking path is gonna be
and
through
the
the
thing is,
garden.
he says it, but he loves it once he sees what we're harvesting. He loves it.
Yes.
So it's a good thing. But
Mhm. Now, how much do you engage the grandchildren in the
oh,
picking and the
thank you for that question. They're very much engaged in it. I purposely will set aside. Normally, they will come around. My son
Mhm.
actually lives next door to us, and he
Wow.
has 4 children. When the garden started, he had 3 children,
Wow.
and my other son lives, not that far, maybe about 15 minutes away, and then 10 minutes really. My daughter is about half an hour away. So
Mhm.
we would kind of reserve Sundays to harvest, to
Nice.
kind of get them involved with it,
Mhm.
and they get a kick out of it. So
Mhm.
they would go to the garden and they would be pick their vegetable, and they have a container that they would put it in, and we take pictures and post it, and they
Nice.
really get, even let me start, because when the garden was being made,
Mhm.
my son and his children, they were involved with that as well.
Mhm.
Yes, the twins, first set of grandchildren, and the daughter, his daughter. So Mikai, Micah, and Nyla, they would be in the garden with them. Nyla helped me to plant, and
Wow.
the boys helped to dig, and help their dad to lay the foundation. And it was
Beautiful.
truly a family involvement.
Mhm.
They were very much a part of it. They were very much excited about it.
Mhm.
They were thrilled with just going out into the garden to pick, and they would actually fight over, "Oh, I want to get that one, I want to get this one."
Hey,
So
listen, 9
yeah,
grandchildren can
yeah,
ball the garden.
yes.
You're
So
like, wait a minute, not just
yeah,
yet.
yeah. So, and even after, I think last year, my son did his own in his own backyard. So
Wow.
now we have 2 gardens going back there.
Yes.
And he went even a little further with some things that, I think he had melons and
Mm.
eggplants, some things that I did not do.
Nice.
So we had 2 gardens going, and we
Uh-huh.
we we enjoyed it, and got lots of things, and shared, not just
Mhm.
for ourselves, but we shared with others.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's so plentiful, especially with your tomatoes, it's so
Uh-huh.
plentiful,
Mhm.
cucumbers,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
you kind of share it. We had
Right.
sweet potatoes,
Wow.
and the kids enjoyed digging, getting their hands dirty, digging to
Mhm.
get those sweet potatoes up. Same
Nice.
with the beets. So it was an awesome time harvesting, as much as it is planting and watching it grow. And
I
that's
was
how I
gonna
look at
ask
my
you
life.
about them. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, just thinking about it now, about the lessons that you were teaching your grandchildren, the lessons of patience
Mhm.
and waiting. How did you manage those lessons with the children? Or did they just have an understanding that this is going to take a couple weeks or a couple months? How did they handle that?
I think they handled it pretty well. And I think they would come, like I said, on Sundays mainly. They would come, or even the ones next door, they would watch and see things, and they would look to see it. They helped me to water also. They would
Mhm.
have to water the plants. And so they watched the process of it. And I
Mhm.
think for them, I'm not sure how they materialized it. We've never had that discussion,
Mhm.
but certainly the excitement I saw in them, and the eagerness to wanting to see it come to fruition. So
Mhm.
they would help to water. They
Mhm.
would come around and watch it grow. They know not to touch. They would look at it. Um, and Mimi, when that one gets bigger, I want to be able to pick it, so they'll say things like that.
Mhm.
And even and also patience is, they were fascinated by watching it. And the littler ones would ask the question, can I pick this one yet? Or why
Mhm.
is this one still green? And so there, I think for them, they had the understanding that
Mhm.
it's a process, and they kind of know when it's ready and when it's not.
Right.
And so if they were uncertain, they would ask the question.
Mhm.
um so yeah,
It's a
I
lesson for
pretty much,
grown up.
it was a lesson learned, and it was also teaching them, um you know seeing how things grow, right?
Mhm.
That, so many children today are just used to going into the store and purchasing things. And here we are, they're learning how things grow from the ground,
Mhm.
what grows on the ground, what grows on tree. They're
Mhm.
learning those things. And that in itself was fascinating to them as well.
Mhm.
And it's also teaching them what they can do as they get older.
Mhm.
They too can have a garden.
Right.
Um, that's important also. But when you think about growth, I look at my garden as even a growth for myself, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
how God just changed us from the baby stage into adulthood,
Yes.
and how we nurture ourselves through how we what we put inside.
Mhm.
I called my body my temple that was given to me by God, right? And so I have learned that over the years I was abusing my temple.
Mhm.
Okay. And it was not until like during the time of the pandemic that all of these things come to my thought process,
Right.
that you got to stop, and listen, because God is doing this for a purpose, you
Yeah.
know, as devastating as things are. I am learning doing this process, doing these 2020.
Yes.
2020 is a year I will never ever forget. And
Mhm.
so many things have happened during that year for me. And that was truly a wake up time of my life, a transitional time of my life. And it opened my eyes to so many things. It brought me closer to family
Mhm.
that I have not seen um, or heard from in many, many, many years, and probably would not have had it not been for the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, it just brought me closer to God,
Yes.
taught me how to be patient, wait, and listen. Let me realize that God is truly my provider, and
Yes.
that He's the one that's taking care of me.
Inspired to plant and determined to grow.
Yep.
I think if you didn't get those two things out of 2020, I don't know what else can happen. Unfortunately, hopefully nothing worse.
Right.
But we should have seen some need to plant some things. And planting can look very different for everyone.
Oh, yes.
Because now you're in a position where you really got to depend on God. Not that you weren't
Yes.
depending on him
Yeah.
before, right?
Right. That's
Yeah,
true. You
yeah.
depend on Him more, and so my journal talks also about you know what I'm eating, as far as Lord, thank you for the transition in my life. Um, I pray for others. I pray even for people that are my enemies that I don't know about. I said, Lord, if there be any enemies out there, please bless them, Lord. I pray for my church. I pray for our nation. All
Mhm.
that's in there. So I'm just kind of connecting with God more and more, letting Him use me as a vessel to bless others. I can't be right there in the hospital as I was, and touching others, through just listening to someone else's agony and pain,
Right.
but I'm able to pray for them. And I know through my prayer that it's touching someone. This month of February, past last month,
Mhm.
February, my sorority was doing Heart Healthy Challenge.
Mhm.
And so that forced even me, even though I do it all the time, but it forced me to even do it more so.
Mhm.
And that's when you saw me running up and down the steps in the park, right?
Yes.
So I was trying to keep my heart healthy, and we were
Mhm.
doing different things and challenging for the months to see how much steps we can get in throughout that day, how much exercise we can get in. And so that's when I realized if I was at work, I wouldn't be able to do this,
Mhm.
you know? So I am at a advantage, when it comes on to how my improvement of my body happened so quickly
Mhm.
because of the pandemic, where I was home and was not bottled down with a job, or stressed out with a job that um, just didn't allow for me to have that freedom to take care of myself.
Mhm.
And so I feel bad for those that are almost like trapped, right,
Mhm.
into that
Mhm.
situation where they're not able to do the things that I was able to do. People ask me all the time, how did you lose weight? Did you have surgery?
Mhm.
um how did it happen for you that quickly? And and honestly, Jack, you take the time to walk them through how, and their answer will be, I guess I'm not ready, because I love my ice cream. I love my bread.
Mhm.
And my response, that's an honest answer, right? That's
Mhm.
an honest to goodness answer, because I was there too.
Oh
And
yeah.
so my answer is, well, you will be ready one day, you know, and because my readiness came when the doctor said, I'm going to put you on medication.
Right. When
That's
you're
when my
ready.
readiness came.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can attest to all of that.
Mhm.
I can attest to backsliding, you
Mhm.
know, I can attest to it. And it comes down to not letting your ready be at a time where it's mandatory.
Right.
If we can change our ready line, and you said it earlier, when they said pre, that's when you should have just taken it from the perspective is I got it, not saying you have it, but saying I'm going to do what I need to do to maintain, if not improve, so I don't get it. And sometimes we don't pay attention to the warning signs. You look at the stoplight, you have a red light, a yellow light, and a green light. That yellow light is telling you you need to slow down
Mm.
because you're approaching the stop.
Yeah.
That's what pre is telling you. It's
That's a good
before.
illustration right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's before it happens,
Yes.
but we have a and this is with everything. This is not just our physical health. This is our mental health, our spiritual health. We get a warning and we don't heed to the warning.
Mhm.
And so we wonder why we end up where we end up when we shouldn't wonder. We should already know. I
Mhm.
already knew not to cross that line. I already knew don't run that red light. I already knew. And when it comes down to our health, we have a tendency to do the same thing.
Yes, because
Yeah.
to live your best life, you have to stay on top of your life. You really do.
Exactly.
And I know I'm living my best life, and
Mm.
I'm not saying it will never ever be another turning point, because this world that we live in, God promised that there will be trials and there
Oh
will
yeah.
be tribulations, and we learn also that they come to make you stronger.
Mhm.
And we're used as vessels for different reasons at different time. We all have seasons that we go through, right? So, but to live your best life, you really have to stay on top of it. And it's like you said, you may go backwards sometimes, but your forwardness need to be stronger than your backwardness,
Oh
right?
yes.
If I could leave anything with anyone, it would be, you know who you are, accept who you are, learn from your mistakes, grow with God. Please grow with God, because He is the source that will provide everything that you need.
Mhm.
And the more you connect with God, is the more He will show you. and he will guide you and he will walk with you through the journey. And
Mhm.
I have no regrets. Have Looking backwards, I'm not looking backwards, I'm looking forward. And I feel in my spirit that God is using me for something big.
Mhm.
And I truly feel, just by, the things that I put out there on Facebook, that it's blessing someone. And I know this because I get the phone calls, I get the little messenger notes, and I see, and it puts smile on my face, just like I know it puts smile on your face for what you're doing.
Mhm.
Because I'm excited about what you're doing. And even from what God has brought you from,
Yes.
a mighty journey. Because, like you said, it could have cost you your life, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and you look back and you say, you look back and
Wow.
wonder how you got over, right? And
Wow.
so and that's how I look now. I say how I got over. My husband could tell you stories about me even being on an airplane. I couldn't sit still for anything because I
Oh,
just
listen,
like,
I can give you a
oh
story
my
about
God.
Disney. Being on a ride at Disney. I was about to give up my whole life on my husband's birthday. So I get it. I
Yeah.
get it.
So
Yeah.
it's a journey that we go on, but I think everyone have to realize at some point in their life they have to take responsibility for themselves, right? And don't they may not be ready right now. Um, like you said, don't wait until when you can't do anything, for what you want to do is on your dying bed or your laying bed. You just have to be able to do it while you we say this all the time: give me my flowers while I can see it and smell it. So start exercising while you're able to exercise,
Exactly.
and really dive into setting goals that you can reach. And then you will go higher and higher, because I never in a million years thought that I could run up and down the steps as I am now, because before I couldn't even do two steps without
Pauline, when I
stopping.
saw that, it was
Yes.
beautiful. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. And I really
Mhm.
had to stop and think, wow, when
Yeah.
was the last time I took
So,
the 2 steps? It's been a
mhm.
while. It's been
Yeah.
a while. Pauline, I
So,
am so thoroughly appreciative for you coming on and talking so practically with us
mhm.
about your journey. I am looking forward to Dear Jesus, or
Yes.
however you're going to title your writings, to share with other people. But if nothing else, I trust that people will take away the importance, as you so graciously inspired us to plant and then determine to grow. So
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us. And thank you
Yes,
for
you
being
are.
our very special guest on
And
Promising Me Unleashed.
it was a pleasure to be with you again. And just praying that God will continue to bless you and use you as the vessel that He's using to bless others. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
To learn more about plant-based nutrition, meet Caprice LLC, where nutrition meets beauty and spiritual wellness. Next time on Promising Me Unleashed, meet the author of Your Morning Routine with Patty Rice.